The clearest signs of a high IQ usually don't show up where you'd expect. Not on a test. Not in your grades. They hide in small, strange, everyday habits that most people would never connect to intelligence at all. Talking to yourself when no one's around. Staying up far too late. Quietly doubting that you're actually smart enough. Science has linked every one of those to how the brain processes information. So here are 7 research-backed signs of an unusually high IQ. Some of them will probably surprise you, and 1 or 2 might describe you a little too well. But stay until the end, because I'm also going to give you a warning, why you should not take any of these as proof. Let's get into it. Number 1. You talk to yourself. If you mutter through your problems out loud, narrate your own actions, or argue with yourself in an empty room, that's not a glitch. Researchers who study inner speech have found that talking to yourself is tied to better focus and stronger working memory. Working memory is the mental scratch pad where you hold and juggle information in real time. And it's one of the closest things we have to a core engine of intelligence. Saying things out loud helps you organize complex thoughts and keep track of what matters. So the habit that makes you look a little eccentric. It may be the sign of a brain actively managing a heavy cognitive load. Number 2. You stay up late. Here's a stranger one. Several studies have found that people with higher measured intelligence tend, on average, to be night owls, more active and alert later into the night, while the rest of the world winds down. One idea behind it? Evolution wired us to sleep when it gets dark. So consistently breaking from that ancient default may track with the kind of mind that's drawn to the novel and the unconventional. Now, I'll be honest, this finding is debated, and plenty of brilliant people are early risers. But if you've always felt sharpest at midnight while everyone tells you to go to bed, you're in interesting company. Number 3. You doubt yourself. This one feels backwards, but it might be the most telling of all. There's a well-documented pattern in psychology called the Dunning-Kruger effect. In simple terms, the people who are least skilled at something tend to be the most confident because they don't know enough to see their own gaps. And the people who are genuinely capable tend to underestimate themselves because the more you understand, the more clearly you see how much you still don't know. Highly intelligent people also tend to assume that if something is obvious to them, it must be obvious to everyone. So that nagging feeling that you're secretly not as smart as people think you are? That quiet self-doubt is often a sign of exactly the opposite. Number 4. You're endlessly curious. If your search history is a chaotic museum of random questions at 2 a.m., why the sky is that color? How money was invented? What a word originally meant? That hunger has a name in psychology. Need for cognition. It's the craving to think hard, to chew on ideas, to understand things just for the pleasure of understanding them. And it's one of the most reliable traits associated with high intelligence. Smart brains tend to be restless brains. They don't just tolerate mental effort, they go looking for it. Number 5. You have a rich vocabulary. This isn't about using big fancy words to sound impressive. It's something deeper. Verbal ability, the size and precision of your vocabulary, is one of the single strongest predictors of general intelligence that psychologists have ever measured. And the reason is revealing. Your vocabulary is a kind of fingerprint of how much your brain has absorbed, connected, and filed away over a lifetime of reading, listening, and paying attention. A wide vocabulary isn't the cause of intelligence. It's the visible trace of a mind that's been quietly building itself for years. Number 6. You overthink everything. If you replay conversations from 3 days ago, analyze every possible outcome before making a decision, and lie awake running scenarios, you already know this one intimately. And there's a real link here. The same powerful analytical brain that's brilliant at solving problems is also extremely good at inventing them. Research has connected higher intelligence with more worry and more rumination. The engine doesn't have an off switch. Point it at a project and it builds something remarkable. Point it at a worry and it builds a catastrophe. Overthinking is, in a strange way, intelligence with nowhere productive to go. Number 7. You'd often rather be alone. Most people get a genuine happiness boost from socializing. It's one of the most reliable patterns in human psychology. But one study found a striking exception. For highly intelligent people, frequent socializing was linked to lower life satisfaction, not higher. The researchers framed it around what they called the Savannah theory of happiness. The idea that some highly intelligent minds are so absorbed in their own goals and pursuits that heavy social demands actually get in the way. So if you genuinely recharge in solitude and find constant socializing draining rather than fueling, that preference may be doing more cognitive work than you think. Though, fair warning, this one comes from a single research group and it's still argued over. So that's the list. And now, the warning I promised, because this is where almost every Signs You're a Genius video online quietly lies to you. None of these 7 things is a test. Not one of them can tell you your IQ. They are population-level correlations, patterns that show up faintly across thousands of people when researchers average everything out. They are not a diagnosis of you. Sitting there watching this, think about what that actually means. Plenty of brilliant people are confident morning person extroverts who hate being alone and never talk to themselves. And plenty of perfectly average people stay up late, doubt themselves, and have huge vocabularies. A correlation across a crowd tells you almost nothing guaranteed about a single individual. On top of that, a couple of these findings, the night owl one, the solitude one, come from single studies and remain genuinely debated. And there's a bigger limit underneath all of it. IQ itself only captures a narrow slice of what we actually mean when we call someone smart. It barely touches creativity, wisdom, emotional intelligence, judgment, or the ability to actually get things done in the real world. A high IQ is one specific kind of horsepower, not the whole vehicle, and definitely not the destination. So if you recognized yourself in these 7 signs, enjoy that, genuinely. But don't crown yourself a genius off a checklist on the internet. And if none of them sounded like you at all, don't count yourself out for a single second. Some of the sharpest minds in history would have failed this exact list. Because here's the real takeaway, and it's more interesting than any number. Intelligence almost never looks the way we expect it to. It doesn't announce itself. It hides in restless curiosity, in quiet self-doubt, in the small, strange, easily overlooked habits of a mind that simply can't stop working. The most fascinating thing about your intelligence isn't a score on a test. It's all the unexpected ways it's been showing up in your life this whole time, without you ever noticing. If this made your brain itch in the best way, that's exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe and stick around, because there is nothing stranger and nothing more worth understanding than the mind you live inside every single day.